Good evening. In 2 days' time, Hong Kong will celebrate the 27th anniversary of the HKSAR's establishment. Zheng Yanxiong, director of the Central Government's Liaison Office, said Hong Kong residents know very well that the one country, two systems principle and the city's high degree of autonomy have not changed. Chief Executive John Lee said the city needs to be adaptable amid its economic transformation. Mo Sinai reports.
The major event to celebrate the establishment day of the Hong Kong SAR was held at Victoria Park. The event was attended by mainland and Hong Kong officials, such as Director of the Central Government's Liaison Office Zheng Yanxiong and Chief Executive John Lee.
27年过去。
In his speech, Zhang said the one country, two systems principle, the SAR's high degree of autonomy, its legal environment, and democracy have not changed. He said outsiders can pretend not to know about Hong Kong's situation, but the city's residents understand it fully. Zhang added support from the central government to the HKSAR will only get stronger in the future. The CE, meanwhile, said residents need to be adaptable amid an economic transformation. The celebratory event will last for 4 days. People can visit exhibitions and learn about Chinese culture. On July 1st, a flag-raising ceremony will be held at the Golden Bohemia Square in Wan Chai at 8 a.m., followed by a reception at the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Centre. Various discounts will also be offered to residents on that day, including free MTR rides on most railway lines for children aged under 12 and free admission to museums. With the long weekend starting today, more than 390,000 residents left the city via different control points by 4 p.m. The border crossing control point at Lantern Hernyun Way was busy today. Many residents decided to travel to the mainland to enjoy their 3-day holiday. News 9, TVB News.
Coming up to the second anniversary since taking office, Chief Executive John Lee said the government will continue to face challenges head-on, especially in solving problems for the Hong Kong people and creating new opportunities for residents. Riding the Star Ferry, Chief Executive John Lee, who is fond of comparing his governing team to a vessel, summarized his work over the past 2 years. He said he shoulders big responsibilities, but it is an honorable mission. Lee highlighted several goals accomplished during the period, such as the completion of Article 23 legislation, the realization of Patriots ruling Hong Kong, the light public housing scheme, and the shortening of waiting time to move into rental public housing. The CE also mentioned measures to help residents living in poverty, including the introduction of an annual review of the statutory minimum wage and the removal of property cooling measures. Lee said the government will continue to strive for improvement to benefit the community. He said the government is not afraid of any challenges and will continue to solve residents' problems. Meanwhile, other senior officials also talked about their work. Posting on social media, Secretary for the Civil Service, Ingrid Yeung, noted the importance of amending the Civil Service Code. Secretary for Transport and Logistics, Lam Sai-hung, mentioned the toll adjustment scheme at the Three Harbour Crossing tunnels, pointing out its positive effects on improving traffic congestions. The Shenzhen-Zhongshan Bridge will officially open to the public at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Tickets for intercity buses are now available. They could be purchased on online platforms or at the Zhongshan Expo Center. The new bus services will travel between the latter, the Cuiheng New Area Administration Service Center, and the Tianhaiwan Metro Station in Shenzhen. Tickets cost between 15 and 18 yuan. Sources said the first bus will depart at 2 in the afternoon tomorrow. The new bridge will shorten the traveling time between the two Greater Bay Area cities from 2 hours to just 30 minutes. The government is considering a fee adjustment for the city's accident and emergency services. Secretary for Health Lo Cheng-mao said authorities are looking into decreasing the price for severe cases while increase it for mild cases in a bid to prevent abuse of the system. Currently, A&E services in the city follow a 5-tier triage system based on the severity of cases, with Tier 1 being the most severe and Tier 5 the least. The Secretary for Health noted the system lacks efficiency, given that some 60% of patients seeking A&E services belong to either Tiers 4 or 5, which are less serious. He stressed fee adjustment is not the only solution, adding that patients with light symptoms should also take better care of their own health or seek help via grassroots healthcare. Hong Kong's sole delegate to the National People's Congress Standing Committee, Star Lee, said she will continue to make proposals to the central government for a more convenient visa application process for mainland visitors coming to Hong Kong. Lee said this after returning from Beijing, where the latest NPC meeting was held. Mosinai reports.
In a boost to the city's retail sector, the duty-free allowance for mainland tourists returning from Hong Kong and Macau will be increased from the existing 5,000 yuan to 12,000 per person. The news was announced by mainland authorities on Friday. Many Hong Kong politicians who had proposed the measure said they were grateful to the central government for responding to their suggestions, including the city's sole delegate to the NPC Standing Committee's Star Lee. In a press conference today, Lee said she hopes mainland authorities can gradually resume the multiple entry and one trip per week arrangements, making the travel visa application process more convenient for mainlanders. Lee also mentioned her work during the NPC meeting last week, where she reviewed multiple pieces of legislation. She said 5 bills were passed.
First, how to deal with emergency. Second law is about the health-related bill. The third one is accounting, how to deal with the accounting issue that happened around our country. And another one is about the Hainan provinces. The final one is about the rural area, how to, gather together those rural area so that they can develop their economy.
Lee said the emergency response law is related to Hong Kong residents because of an emergency pact signed by authorities from the SAR in the Guangdong province. Meanwhile, another 5 laws are in the second reading process, such as the draft financial stability law.
Lee said members of the public can visit the NBC website and submit their opinions on the 5 ordinances. Mosinai, TVB News.
In Malaysia, 2 tourists from China were killed and 19 others injured in a bus accident in the state of Pahang. The bus carrying 21 people was traveling downhill from the popular resort town of Genting Highlands. Reports say that both victims were male and they suffered head injuries. The accident happened at around 11 a.m. Among the passengers, 18 were from Yunnan province in China, local reports say. Genting Highlands is around an hour's drive from Kuala Lumpur up a steep winding road. It is popular for its casinos and relatively cooler climate. Welcome back. After a largely faltering performance in the first U.S. presidential debate, Joe Biden was immediately back on the campaign trail in North Carolina in a bid to win back the confidence of his supporters. Sounding more assured than during his debate with former President Donald Trump, Biden insisted he was the right man for the job. This as the New York Times wrote an opinion piece asking the president to step aside and allow someone else to take his place in November's election. Trump, meanwhile, held his own rally in Chesapeake, Virginia, hailing his performance in the debate. Nasvi Karim has more.
It was a different Joe Biden to the one who struggled a day earlier. After his difficult election debate against former President Donald Trump, many, including Democrats, wondered if this was the right man to lead the United States over the next 4 years. Biden's performance prompted the New York Times to write an editorial asking the president to withdraw from the race if he truly loves America. But before a large crowd at a campaign stop in Raleigh, North Carolina, Biden was forceful and animated, even acknowledging his shortcomings while amplifying his successes.
Folks, I don't walk as easy as I used to. I don't speak as smoothly as I used to. I don't debate as well as I used to. But I know what I do know. I know how to tell the truth. I know right from wrong. And I know how to do this job. I know how to get things done. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
His energy prompted many to wonder why this version of the president was absent against Trump. The former president had his own campaign rally in Chesapeake, Virginia, where he repeated claims that Biden was the worst president in U.S. history and hammering home the notion that he was unfit to lead.
The question every voter should be asking themselves today is not whether Joe Biden can survive a 90-minute debate performance, but whether America can survive 4 more years of crooked Joe Biden in the White House. In fact, I don't know if we can really survive 5 more months.
Trump will be milking Biden's performance until the next debate, which is scheduled for September 10th and hosted by ABC. However, one analyst said Biden should not be ruled out, saying 3 months is a long time in politics.
Presidents have the bully pulpit. They have the ability to make news, through trips, executive orders. He could call to give an address to the joint session of Congress, or call for another debate. So there's a lot of things he could do to try to mitigate some of this. But yes.
Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
There is growing alarm among Democrats about the president's performance. Some from within the party have called for him to drop out of the race, but others are rallying behind Biden, including former President Barack Obama. This report from NBC.
Tonight, as President Biden defends his place atop the ticket, some Democrats are considering an extraordinary scenario, whether someone else should be their nominee. Overnight, private worries turn into public alarm.
He had one thing he had to accomplish, and that was reassure America that he was up to the job at his age. And he failed at that tonight.
There are going to be discussions about whether he should continue.
The doubts deepening. One veteran Democratic strategist telling NBC News there is no coming back from this disaster. But tonight, this forceful show of support from former President Obama, writing, "Bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know." But this election is still a choice between someone who has fought for ordinary folks his entire life and someone who only cares about himself. Adding last night didn't change that. And this from California Governor Gavin Newsom, who some Democrats have floated as an alternative nominee.
You don't turn your back because of one performance. What kind of party does that?
Also defending the president, Democratic Senator John Fetterman, who won despite struggling in his own debate following a stroke, saying, "I refuse to join the Democratic vultures on Biden's shoulder." But more perilous for the president, his performance comes after the White House spent months pushing back against any questions about his mental and physical fitness to serve. The only plausible scenario for Democrats to select a new nominee, according to a DNC Rules Committee member, would be for the president himself to decide to withdraw.
He himself would have to get out of the race. Okay, there's no other way to do it, because those delegates that are already elected, they like Joe Biden, they're loyal to Joe Biden.
If President Biden were to drop out before he's formally nominated in August, it could create a free-for-all among Democrats because there's no mechanism for him or anyone else to anoint a chosen successor.
Iran will hold a runoff presidential election to replace the late President Ebrahim Raisi. Seesawing results released show the race is between reformist Masoud Pezeshkian and Saeed Jalili. The two have been trading the lead during the counting of 12 million votes. Both have around 5 million each. A runoff will take to replace the late Ebrahim Raisi, who died last month in a helicopter crash. Iranian law requires a winner to receive more than 50% of all votes cast. Otherwise, it goes to a runoff. The European Union has signed a huge trade deal with Egypt, which could be worth over $40 billion. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is in Cairo alongside Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The deals are with various types ranging from construction to green projects. The EU is trying to reduce its reliance on China for solar panels, while hoping Egypt can help with the influx of migrants from North Africa and Asia.
Electricity and hydrogen, but also creating new clean tech value chains. Today, we rely on batteries, solar panels, and wind turbines that are mostly produced far away. So what if we joined forces to produce them in our common region? Today, we're signing a new project worth 25 million euros to provide clean tech and digital training to young Egyptians, so that companies find skilled personnel and Egyptians can find good jobs and make their living.
A landmark project under the Belt and Road Initiative will be of mutual beneficial cooperation to China and Peru. President Xi Jinping said Peruvian President Dina Ercilia Boluarte is in Beijing on a state visit. During their talks in Beijing, Xi said China has been Peru's largest trading partner and largest export market for 10 consecutive years, and noted the important series of projects and investments being undertaken by Chinese companies in Peru. Among these, Xi pointed to the significance of the Chancay Port, a landmark project of the Belt and Road Initiative between China and Peru, which is projected to be one of the major ports in South America. At the invitation of Xi, Boluarte arrived in China on Tuesday for a 5-day state visit. Xinjiang's climate and geographical location allow the region to produce a wide variety of farm products. That has also benefited local dairy and wine industries. Jackie Lin visited an agricultural hub in Xinjiang to learn more.
Covering 1/6 of China's territory, Xinjiang is an agricultural powerhouse renowned for its bounty of fruit thanks to abundant sunlight lasting 16 hours a day in summer and a large temperature difference between day and night. In Changji Prefecture in northwest Xinjiang, also booming is the dairy industry. Boasting a history of nearly 70 years, the farm has automated its agricultural operations to boost productivity and quality control. From feeding to milking, which happens 3 times a day, as well as packaging. Some 70 tons of milk are produced every day and made into various dairy products, with annual sales reaching 1.2 billion yuan. The farm's manager told us as the dairy products have a short shelf life, they are mainly sold locally in Xinjiang. Another important industry in Xinjiang, winery, which takes up a quarter of China's total wine production. The general manager of this winery said Xinjiang's climate has contributed to the caliber of Xinjiang's grapes and hence the wine products. The grapes in Xinjiang are usually sweeter, so the wine is also sweeter. Currently, Xinjiang wine is mainly sold domestically. The industry hopes to gradually market their products overseas. Jackie Lin, TVB News, Xinjiang.
And that's the news. Thanks for watching.